Hello, welcome to KTV. I'm Rima.
And I'm Campbell. On today's episode, we're going to be showing you coverage of events that have been happening on campus and around the local area in the past month.
And coming up the show is a short investigation on what students think of buses in Canterbury,
A documentary on the history of the Canterbury Festival,
a short extract from Black History Month,
Bonfire Night,
exciting coverage and interviews from Anifest,
interviews and performances from Friday nights in Woodies. Firstly, over the past few weeks, there's been a growing online campaign about the bus services in Canterbury.
and we sent our cameras down to Keen's bus stop to get the students' reactions.
They're not very frequent.
3 buses come along and there you go, and you're still waiting for another bus to come along so you can get on.
Like at Westgate, I live near Westgate and I often have to wait about 20 minutes during the day.
Sometimes they're really good and they're on time and it's not very busy, but especially in the mornings the queues can be huge.
Well, sometimes they come all at once, sometimes you're waiting about 20 minutes for a bus to come, so you never really know when the next one's going to come.
I usually catch the buses from the city centre, so it's not really a problem for me, but if you're catching it later on within the bus route, I think it can be a problem getting here on time.
My last class on Fridays is at 6 p.m. So 5 p.m. So it takes me about an hour and a half to get home.
In the morning when you're waiting for a 9 o'clock lecture, about 5 buses usually go past you and they're all full.
There's a lot of students and they want to get home, so the more buses the better really.
No, I think something needs to be done, definitely. I don't know whether a case of more regular buses would really help, because they're quite regular as for now.
Maybe just at peak hours have more buses running.
More buses at peak times really.
So we've just heard what some of the students think. I'm now here with Colin Maguire, who is our Vice President Welfare. Colin, for those that might not know, what is it that you do at the union?
So I am one of the 5 elected officers that work full-time for Kent Union, obviously particularly focusing on student welfare, so pretty much anything that can affect a student's experience in a non-academic sense, so transport fits into that.
So when a lot of students started complaining and campaigning on Facebook to try and get the bus service sorted, what sort of things did you do first? How did you try to resolve this issue?
So first of all, I contacted the students that had created the Facebook group, and was actually really glad that they'd done that, because it was good to kind of show the sort of how much student feeling there was about that. So then I invited them in for a meeting, which I had this morning actually, to discuss their main concerns about what's happening. And I've also then set up a meeting with Stagecoach on Monday of next week to talk about how we can go forward and resolve them.
Great. So for future issues, if there was something a student felt needed to be changed, how would they get in touch with you? How could they go about seeing some sort of change?
Well, I mean, I suppose to talk sort of broadly around the issue itself, like, I think a lot of it is actually Stagecoach have done some really good stuff over the last few years on expanding their bus service, and I think that's led to more students investing in the bus pass, which has led to problems around the use of the service. Stagecoach are really good at taking on board feedback, so I would definitely recommend students to talk to them, but certainly they can talk to myself. So I'm based in the Student Activity Centre here, which is above Essentials, so students can pop in and see me. They can also contact me on union-welfare at kent.ac.uk, and Twitter's always good. I'm on Twitter at Colin Maguire, so they can talk to me, and I'm using the hashtag for this as Bustis.
Nice.
Getting students Bustis.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for this.
You've heard both sides of the story, but what's your opinion? Tweet us on Kent_TV.
And now, for something completely different.
Canterbury Festival is Kent's international arts and culture festival. It is the largest arts and cultural festival in the region and one of the most important cultural events in the southeast. The festival fortnight hosts events such as music, theatre and drama, comedy, science, exhibitions, walks in and around the city. In 1929, the Dean of Canterbury Cathedral, George Bell, established the first festival, which was closely linked with the newly formed Friends of the Cathedral organisation. Over the next 10 years, the festival continued to flourish, most notably in 1935 with T.S. Eliot play called Murder in the Cathedral. The true renaissance of the festival came in 1984 when the Canterbury Theatre and Festival Trust, which campaigned to open a new theatre, and the first festival coincided with its opening. In 2004, the festival adopted the title Kent's International Arts Festival. when it started to develop relationships with its European neighbours. This led to a celebration of Hungarian culture, culminating in a Hungarian concert. In 2005, the festival hosted the Polish National Radio Symphony Orchestra, and in the following year, hosted a global lineup with artists from 7 different countries. This year, the Fortnight Festival was held from the 13th to the 27th of October, attracting 70,000 guests from Kent, London and all around the southeast. One of the most popular events was the Some Like It Hip Hop theatre production by Zoo Nation, which has also been performed in the West End. Also, the Adam and Eve Diaries by Dyad Productions. Also part of the Canterbury Festival was a pianist called Young Tune Park. The festival aims to host international artists as well as artists from home, such as the Canterbury Choral Society. Although it's over this year, there will be plenty of events happening all over Canterbury, and keep your eyes out for next year's festival.
Next up, we've been at AniFest, Canterbury's annual festival animation. We've sent our team of geeks down to get some interviews with Pixar and DreamWorks.
For people who are interested in digital arts, what can they learn from looking at the work of Ray Harryhausen?
Imagination. In a word, imagination. A whole bank of people do what Ray did on his own now. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Ray will say of CG, if that's part of the question, Ray will say of CG, it's another tool, which is true, it is. It's how you use the tool. So it's imagination. His legacy is imagination.
I actually started out as a software developer, and it was only about 8 or 9 years into my career in the field that I realized how much I really was passionate about animation more than anything else. It was only when we really started talking to people who had that direct line of experience from 2D animation that we realized how important strong design skills are. It's made of a whole lot of little tiny components, the distance between the eyes and the length of the nose and all these little subtleties which you can only really truly learn if you get them wrong over and over again and then suddenly get them right.
So what makes a really good show reel?
This is a question we get asked all the time, and the answer is pretty simple. You keep it short, put your best work at the beginning. You have to understand that when I'm looking at reels, I won't look at one, I'll be given dozens. Try to show off your best skills. If you're really good at handling comedic timing or weight, whatever, show that off. Show me you can do it really well. And never, never, never put anyone else's work in your reel.
So I think that handmade look is really important. It's part of the charm of what we do, and I don't know if consciously make it quintessentially British, but it's what we are, and we're kind of a little bit bumpkiny, and it's nice. It's kind of...
I think it's fantastic if we can make a film that seems much bigger than the world that we're limited to by sets and props. And the cabin that I worked in was so narrow and small that it would come apart in about 50 different pieces, so that you could just put it together the way you needed it. Practice is really important, because that's the only way really to learn what you're doing.
It's just getting on and doing it, I think, is my best tip, really.
What would you say is the biggest problem that you've hit as a technical director?
I actually mentioned it there. Like doing bread for Ratatouille. A torn piece of bread was the hardest thing. It seems like so simple. Things that we used to think were really difficult are now we do every day. Like I was amazed on Brave. We wanted to do cloth that was really deep. Computers, you just make a surface and then you put a texture on it for what you want.
Yeah.
But the cloth in Brave is actually woven. So I don't think anything's impossible anymore.
No.
Great job, guys. You look like you had a great time. Last month was Black History Month.
We teamed up with CSR and Inquire to bring you the best coverage of the charity football match that went on. Here's what KTV's got to offer.
Chelsea defender John Terry.
John Terry is considering whether to appeal after being banned for 4 games for using racist language towards Anton Ferdinand.
Just a few words uttered out of the mouth of John Terry back in October last year was all it took for himself to earn a 4-match ban from Chelsea and a fine of £220,000. But is a short holiday from work and 10 days missing pay really a punishment for the ex-England captain? Are we doing enough to discourage racism from the sport, or just letting our sporting role models set an unwelcome example? Racism isn't bound to the pitches of Britain though. Take a short look back at the events of last week, where this time we were under attack.
There are fans on the pitch, substitutes, getting involved as well. Very unseemly scenes.
They're just attacking anybody who's wearing an England badge. It's totally out of order.
That was just a snippet of our coverage. Head over to ktvlive.co.uk for exclusive interviews and a full match report.
As you know, it's bonfire night tonight, so we've sent down Daisy to have a look at the bonfire display.
Just too close to love you. Oh, there's nothing that I can really say. Oh, I can't lie no more, I can't hide no more. Got to be true to myself. And it feels like I am just too close to love you. So I'll be on my way. No, no, no. So I'll be on my way. Oh no, no, no. You've given me more than I can return, but there's also much that you deserve. No, nothing to say, nothing to do, nothing to give. I must live with.
Hello everyone, KTV have come down tonight to the Kent County Cricket Ground. No, we've not come to see cricket, but we have come to see an epic firework display. Every year this place is home to fireworks, but this year we've got a funfair, fire reachers, dancers, food galore, and of course that firework display at the end. If you want to come down next year, put it in the diary. It's an hour's walk from campus. It's £8 for a whole night's entertainment. Before we see these fireworks, just want to say, if you guys are having your own fireworks tonight, have an amazing time, but stay safe.
Let's go!
Thank you, that's all we have time for tonight.
We're going to leave you with a clip of the Live Music Society's event at Woody's, an acoustic night where some local talent was on display.
Someone you feel seen for. I take one step.
done to me? We will face What do you want from me? What do you need from me? What do